Weeks ago, my world crumbled beneath me. It started with a simple visit, nothing out of the ordinary. My wife's sister had just given birth, and we went to visit her to see how she was handling everything. She seemed nervous, off somehow, but I brushed it aside. We made small talk, and then out of nowhere, she just broke down. She was shaking, gasping for air like she was drowning under some unseen weight. Maybe it was the exhaustion, the stress of new motherhood, or maybe it was something else entirely. Then she said it. I can't keep this secret anymore. She cheated on you. 6 years ago. The room spun. I felt like someone had reached into my chest and crushed my lungs. My first instinct was denial. Not my wife. Not our life. But my sister-in-law wouldn't look me in the eyes, and that told me everything I needed to know. She told me herself. She got drunk. It was with her best friend. Right around the time she got pregnant. And there's more. She let him see your son. When you were at work. I didn't know what to do with this information, but I couldn't keep it from you anymore. I barely remember leaving. I don't remember the drive. The only thing I do remember is pulling into a parking lot, hands shaking as I searched for a paternity test center near me. Fear wrapped around my throat, but I forced myself forward. I needed the truth. A week later it arrived. Not mine. My hands trembled as I held the paper, my heart pounding so loud I swore the whole world could hear it. My son, the boy I had raised, loved, and cherished for 6 years, wasn't mine. And somehow, something inside me just shut off. I didn't see him the same way. The little quirks I once adored, the way he laughed, even the way he called me dad. It all felt foreign, like a cruel joke the universe had been playing on me for years. I already had the test, that was proof, but I wanted to hear it from her. I confronted my wife that night, after our son was asleep. She took one look at me and she knew. Her face drained of color. Who told you? She whispered. I ignored her question. It didn't matter. Is it true? My voice was barely controlled, venom seeping through every word. She tried to stammer out excuses, but I had no patience for them. I just want the truth. Did you cheat on me 6 years ago? Is he mine? Silence. And then her shoulders sagged. I'm so sorry. I didn't need to hear anything else. I want a divorce. Her head snapped up. No, wait. Please. Tears streamed down her face. It was a mistake. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything, but I've been faithful to you ever since. Faithful? I let out a cold laugh. You've been lying to my face for 6 years. Do you know what you've done to me? You let me love him, raise him, believe he was my flesh and blood. My voice broke, and I had to take a breath to steady myself. And now you want me to pretend this never happened? She dropped to her knees, clinging to my leg like a woman drowning. Please don't do this. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. No, we can't. Her sorrow turned to anger. Well, if you leave, I'm getting full custody. You're the only father he knows. I scoffed, my patience gone. You've been letting him visit while I was at work, haven't you? And now you're still trying to lie to me? Saying I'm the only father he knows while you had his real father around this whole time. I exhaled sharply, my rage barely contained. You want me to raise another man's child? I spat. Fine. You keep him. I'll keep the dogs. Her mouth fell open. You're just going to throw him away? What kind of man are you? The kind who refuses to live a lie anymore. For the first time, she was speechless. A weekend passed before she packed her things and took the kid to her parents' house. She hasn't called since. I don't think she even knows how to approach me after that last conversation. Good. I don't want to hear from her. I spoke to my father about everything, and he told me I did the right thing. He said a man shouldn't be forced to raise a child that isn't his, especially when he was deceived into it. I agreed. And yet, the pain hasn't faded. My family, the life I built, has been ripped from me. I am drowning in betrayal, anger, and grief for a child I now see as a stranger. My therapist says I need to focus on myself first. That no matter how guilty I feel, the child is not my responsibility anymore. You have to heal before anything else matters, she told me. I'm trying, but the pain lingers. Not even 3 days later, my ex came knocking. I opened the door but didn't let her in. Say what you need to say. Her eyes were swollen from crying. Please, let's talk. I shook my head. There's nothing left to say. The divorce is in process. She clutched her stomach like she had been punched. Can't we at least stay friends? For his sake. No, I didn't even hesitate. You made your choice when you lied to me. My healing doesn't involve you anymore. She wiped at her eyes furiously, but I saw something else there now, panic. She wasn't just losing me. She was losing the life she had built, the stability I had given her. She realized too late that I was serious, that I wasn't coming back. She whispered, I didn't think you'd actually leave me. I stared at her for a long moment before shaking my head. Well, maybe you should have thought about that 6 years ago. I shut the door in her face. And for the first time in weeks, I felt free. Update. Time has passed, and I'm finally rebuilding my life. At first, it felt like waking up in the wreckage of something I thought would last forever. But now, I'm beginning to feel whole again. I started dating. Not seriously, but enough to remind myself what it feels like to be appreciated, to be with someone who doesn't make me question my worth. My ex still reaches out from time to time, always under the guise of checking in or trying to discuss our past. I don't entertain it. Whatever connection we had died the moment I found out the truth. And the biggest irony? The man she risked our marriage for, the child's real father? The one she snuck into our home while I was working, letting him play dad in secret? Gone. The second I was out of the picture, he vanished. No more secret visits. No more playing father behind my back. Just silence. She threw away a loyal husband, a family, a life, for a man who was perfectly happy being a side piece. But now that the responsibility is his, he wants nothing to do with it. I don't regret walking away. I don't regret choosing my own happiness for once. And as the weight of my past continues to lift, I realize I have a future ahead of me. One that doesn't include her lies, her betrayal, or the life I was tricked into living. I may have lost everything, but in the end, I just have to pick myself back up and keep going. It'll get better. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks for listening to Hidden Thread Teller. See you in the next one.